Hi everyone, and welcome to the Fake Love and Flying Monkeys podcast. My name's Nova Gibson and I am your host. My area of expertise is in supporting victims and survivors of narcissistic abuse and other toxic relationships. I'm the principal counsellor at Brighter Outlook Narcissistic Abuse Counselling Service, and I'm also the author of Fake Love, Understanding and Healing from Narcissistic Abuse. In this podcast, we're going to be talking about everything from the initial pink cloud you find yourself on at the start through to the horrific discard and the powerful trauma bond that keeps you hooked. So take your imaginary seat on the roller coaster that is narcissistic abuse, and don't forget to subscribe to this podcast so you never miss an episode of Fake Love and Flying Monkeys. Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Fake Love and Flying Monkeys. In today's episode, I am going to be talking about gaslighting. A lot about gaslighting, but also a number of other manipulative strategies the narcissist uses when they are devaluing you. Now, when the narcissist knows you're hooked, or they are very aware that you totally believe that they are, in fact, the person, the kind and compassionate, caring person they pretend to be, when they know that you are in hook, line, and sinker, they must and will begin to devalue you. Now, this is so that you are less than them in every single way. All of those things they said they admired about you in the beginning, all of those things they said they loved, they will now become issues of contempt for the narcissist, because they are things that do make you special, that the narcissist actually did think were amazing qualities about you. And to the narcissist, that means those qualities need to be destroyed, because it's those amazing traits and qualities that you have that make them feel inferior, make them feel bad about themselves. So they set about destroying anything that makes you better than them in their eyes. And that includes your happiness. So confusing for every victim who believes that the person they love was actually proud of them and who is now ridiculing them for these amazing qualities and special talents, perhaps, and sometimes even seems to be embarrassed by them. It is so confusing when their loved one does a shapeshift and turns into someone that they don't recognize. And that is what devaluing is all about to the narcissist. It is about destroying the person you are and creating a new personality that will meet all the needs of the narcissist. They need someone they can mold into the perfect victim. So they need to essentially strip you of everything that is good and special about you and make you so that you have no pride, no confidence, no self-love, so that you will be dependent on the narcissist, on your abuser, for your self-worth, which of course boosts their ego and makes them feel powerful. So they've got their amazing target, the person who does possess all of those wonderful traits and talents. They've got that person hooked. That person's not going anywhere. So now they need to destroy everything that's good about them, because they know they're not going anywhere, but they've got to make sure they never leave and that they are always making the narcissist feel revered and, of course, powerful. There are so many ways the narcissist devalues their victim to destroy that person that they are and create a new one that they can manipulate, control, and abuse. But we're going to be talking just about a few today. In particular, we're going to be talking a lot about gaslighting. Now, unfortunately, I think that the word gaslighting has become or is becoming a little bit of a buzzword, just like the word narcissist is. And people are starting to use it when they really don't know the true meaning of the word. And of course, the repercussions for a victim who has been continually gaslighted for an extended period of time, and what that does to their ability to trust themselves, and of course their mental, and emotional health. Gaslighting is a manipulative strategy the narcissist uses to confuse their victim, where they distort their victim's reality so that they don't trust their instincts. They don't trust that what they're seeing is what they're seeing, and what they're hearing is what they're hearing. It's also about getting the victim to not trust their feelings, the feelings that they're actually entitled to. For example, a victim has caught their partner messaging someone they shouldn't be. The messages are really inappropriate and suggest that there's a relationship going on that's just a little too familiar. And the victim confronts the narcissist, and the narcissist, instead of owning up to the fact that they've done something wrong, they've been caught out, they will say something like, "I can't believe that you have been looking at the messages in my phone. I can't be with anyone who is so distrusting and is so insecure. I simply cannot be with someone who does not trust me." So the victim has been gaslighted out of the feelings that they're entitled to, and of course, their reality. The reality is they caught their partner out, and the narcissist flipped the script and confused them by suggesting that the problem was not the inappropriate messages, but the problem was that they were snooping. Now, someone who hasn't been in a relationship with a narcissist might say something like, "Oh, come on. You got black and white evidence there. You've caught them with their hand in the cookie jar, and they've got the audacity to sit there and flip it around and make out like you've got all the issues." And that's exactly what the narcissist feels quite comfortable, quite entitled to do, because they know the work that they've put in to make that victim not trust themselves. The true damage for victims when it comes to gaslighting is the fact that it is ongoing when you are in a relationship with a narcissist. This person purports to love them. The victim loves them. So why on earth would they think that this person is deliberately trying to confuse them? And the narcissist is saying what they are saying or doing what they are doing with such conviction and a self-righteous attitude to be engaging in that behavior. And their pulse doesn't seem to be changing, that the victim buys into what they are actually saying. They believe there must be some validity to what the narcissist is telling them, or they wouldn't be so adamant about it. So to make the victim hand over their reality to the narcissist in its entirety, the narcissist has got to start off small. In the very beginning, they may just question whether you had told them something, and you know for a fact that you did. You have a memory of that. Or they may sound very, very convincing when they're telling you that they told you about something, but you must have forgotten about it. And You have absolutely no memory of them telling you this thing that they're so adamant about having told you. So they're getting you to think that there's something wrong with your memory. Now, the victim loves and trusts this person, and these are only small things, aren't they? And they seem to be so adamant about what they are saying, and the victim has forgotten about things in the past, and they don't question it because there's no reason for them to think that someone they love would intentionally be trying to confuse them. So they reason that there must be some truth in what the narcissist is telling them. Now, if the narcissist started off big right from the start, let's just say you catch them in bed together and they're lying there next to someone else and they're totally naked, and you confront them and the narcissist says something like, "You're overreacting. We were just having a work meeting and it got really hot, so we decided to take our clothes off. Trust you to think that something else was going on." If they started out in the beginning with something big like that, there's no way you would believe them because it's pretty obvious they're not lying there naked doing next month's stock take. So the narcissist has to start off small. They have to erode away your ability to trust your instincts gradually, or you would never fall for it. The basic premise in gaslighting for a narcissist is a confused mind is a conquered mind, and they want you in a constant state of confusion. But it's not just a matter of getting you to doubt yourself. It's also about getting you to react and getting you to defend yourself. So I know this isn't a ridiculous example, but I want to get across to you just how ridiculous the narcissist behavior is, or how it would seem to you in the beginning, but they actually get you to defend yourself against the indefensible. So here's my example. The narcissist says to you, "The sky's purple." And of course, you know the sky is blue. So you defend yourself with all you've got, and the narcissist is so adamant, no, it's purple, and you're an idiot for thinking it's blue, and you keep going, no, here's the screenshots, I'm going to go and get the neighbors to back me up that the sky is blue. The narcissist knows the sky is blue, but they wanted you to go crazy trying to prove it. So they get that huge platter of narcissistic supply from you, and they have got you to a stage through that gradual erosion away of your instincts. They've got you to a place where you're actually defending yourself to that, something that really is indefensible because the narcissist and you both know the sky is blue. So the narcissist chips away at your capacity to trust yourself. It gradually gets bigger. You don't see it happening in any major way in the beginning because, as I said earlier, you wouldn't believe it. So they've got to chip away, and they do it in such a way that you start thinking there is something wrong with yourself. And of course, you turn to them for what you should be believing, and you trust them as to what you should be feeling. So there are many ways the narcissist gaslights you out of your reality. And one tried and trusted measure is to ridicule your emotions. So, for instance, as with catching them in bed with someone else, they've engaged in some blatantly disrespectful behavior. Perhaps they're checking out someone else right in front of you. It is so rude. It's embarrassing. And you call them on it. You say something and they might say something back like, oh, you're overreacting. You're so insecure, or you've got mental health issues, or they may say something really awful and nasty to you. And when you actually seem hurt, because that's what it was designed to do, they'll say, oh, you can't take a joke. I was only joking. And when they trivialize your emotions like that, you feel like any emotions that you do have, which, by the way, are totally justified when they're engaging in those behaviors, you feel like maybe you are overreacting. Maybe you are just a little oversensitive, and because of the chipping away at your instincts, the narcissist is able to get you to believe that you have overreacted and that perhaps they were just joking. And once again, there's something wrong with you. So these types of phrases, they distort the victim's perceptions so that eventually down the track, in the face of black and white evidence, and I am talking, seeing if it's an intimate partner, your partner in bed with someone else, and them being able to get you to doubt that what you're seeing, which is them probably just having engaged in some kind of intimate interaction, instead of you believing that that was the case, they will say, well, you didn't see it happening, so how have you got any proof? You don't have any proof, and I can't believe that you would think that of me. They actually get the victim to a place where the victim will think that, well, they're right. I didn't actually see them having sex. So maybe, it was a hot day and everything. And, they do love me, and my memory is a bit off and my anxiety has been playing up a bit lately. They start coming up with all of these coping mechanisms, survival instincts, we call them, to make the abuse not as bad as it is by blaming themselves. And this capacity for the victim to absorb some kind of responsibility and to think that maybe they're the one with the issue, that comes from, with many other strategies, but mainly from the ongoing gaslighting. The victim over time is conditioned to minimize the emotions that they're actually entitled to feel. For those of you who have read my book, Fake Love, Understanding and Healing from Narcissistic Abuse, you will remember the example of Sophie and Justin. And the reason I use this in the book is because it is absolutely textbook. Now, Sophie caught Justin out talking to someone he denied cheating with. And these conversations were very, very intimate. And she called him on it instead of owning the behavior. And as a normal person should do, and apologizing profusely and begging that person to forgive them and professing to do everything in their power to regain their trust. Instead of doing those things when they'd been caught red-handed, Justin flipped it around and accused Sophie of being the one at fault because she had invaded his privacy. So that is just another classic example of a gaslighter's ability to get the victim to think that what they're feeling is wrong. Sophie was totally within her rights to be angry and to be hurt and to be upset. And the issue became the fact that she'd snooped rather than Justin cheating. And because Sophie's ability to trust her instincts had been eroded gradually away over time, once again, she bought into it. She did snoop. She didn't like people who snooped in other people's phones and listened in on conversations that they weren't supposed to be listening in on and being sneaky and deceptive. That was wrong. How could she go crook at Justin when she herself had engaged in this behavior that really showed she wasn't a trustworthy person? It made her feel like a hypocrite. And that's what the narcissist banks on. Even though she had every right to have trusting issues because Justin had incredible lying issues. Other ways the narcissist gaslights their victim is through outright lying. I never said that. No, I didn't do that. When you know that they did do some behavior that you're trying to make them accountable for, or they will shift things around to try and make you feel crazy. Perhaps they'll shift your car keys around and you look everywhere for your car keys and you're pretty sure you put them down in a certain spot, and then all of a sudden the narcissist finds them in a spot you know you didn't leave them, but they come to you and you're so relieved to find your car keys. And of course you think, why would anyone hide them and then find them for you? It's just not something that crosses your mind. So the narcissist hides your keys, then presents them to you, then expects your gratitude for finding them. Not only that, they get to keep a scoreboard of how they've done something for you and to condition you quickly over time to believe that, there's something going on with your memory and you need to be a little bit more careful about what you do with your things. An extremely manipulative and abusive way the narcissist also gaslights their victim is when they say something like, everyone agrees with me. Now, how hurtful, how painful is it when the narcissist has told you there's something wrong with you? You've handed them over all your vulnerabilities in that love bombing stage when they were such a wonderful listening ear, and now they're using them against you to make you feel bad about yourself. So they're perhaps presenting you with your anxiety relating to past trauma, and you're losing things all the time. And they say to you, even your mother thinks you're crazy. All my friends, they don't like you because you're nasty to me, and that everyone thinks that you've got a problem and that I should leave you. When the victim hears this, it's so isolating, and they think that they've got no one that believes them and that maybe they do have a real problem, because if it's not just this one person who's saying it and everyone else is agreeing with them, then once again, there's got to be some validity in that, and it is terribly isolating and makes the victim feel all alone. And that gaslighting strategy is particularly cruel. Pretty much all the narcissist devaluing strategies incorporate aspects of gaslighting, such as sabotage, blame shifting, coercive control, triangulation. They all involve the narcissist trying to confuse you and paint an alternative reality that they want you to believe. Now, another example is when, in the beginning, the narcissist is painting a picture of themselves as being this, a loyal person who despises cheaters, and they're saying things like that, and you think, oh my goodness, they really hate cheaters. This is not a bad thing, because that makes you trust them more. And what happens when down the track, inevitably, the narcissist cheats? It's what they do. So you're presented with this evidence that is confusing you, because these conversations seem a little too intimate with someone else. They're talking about their secretary all the time, perhaps, and they're telling you, what amazing person they are, and that, you should be lucky that they've got someone so nice that cares for them at work. All of these things that just make you doubt that this is just a platonic relationship. So they're all leading towards you believing that they're cheating, and all the evidence points to Rome. And they've told you at the beginning they despise cheaters. So how confusing is it for you when this person who said they held loyalty on such a pedestal, that they seem to be engaging in the very behavior they deplore? And that's how they set you up in the beginning, with statements like that. And just a little off track, guys, this is why you never trust dating profiles. If they say something like, I am such a loyal person and I despise cheaters, and I'm high on empathy. These are things that you should really just take for granted in someone. Why does someone have to announce this to the world unless they're trying to manipulate you? And of course, they've been accused of being the opposite of that in the past. What they're doing is they're setting the groundwork by putting those things in their profile. They're setting the groundwork for a gaslighting campaign later down the track, when they can go to you. Why would you think that I would do that? I told you that was one of the things that you were attracted to me in. You knew that I despised liars and cheaters, and here you are thinking that I might do something like that. It's to make you doubt yourself. Now, the "I was only joking" line is designed to hurt you. It's designed to inflict pain and make you feel bad about yourself, but they get to throw that insult out at you and then not own it. They retract it and then accuse you of not having a sense of fun, of having a sense of humor. When they tell you that you've got mental health issues, you're crazy, when you do exhibit anxiety, and maybe you do engage in reactive abuse because they've baited you into reacting, and then you prove them right in some way because you have reacted in a way that's outside of your character, but is also a symptom of the abuse. They get to tell you or gaslight you into believing that the problem was not with their behavior. The problem was the fact that you've got mental health issues and you're crazy. So once again, they're distorting your reality. Now, it's the cumulative effect of gaslighting that makes a victim actually feel crazy. Narcissistic abuse is designed to make the victim feel crazy. That is the bottom line. That is the goal, and that is always the outcome, so that you are not able to trust yourself and you are easy to manipulate into someone whom they can control and someone whom they can feed off to boost their own ego. Other devaluing strategies that the narcissist uses to gain control of their victim and to distort their perceptions are triangulation and sabotage. Now, we're going to talk more in depth about those two particular strategies in future episodes. But just with regard to gaslighting, let's talk about triangulation. Triangulation is a strategy the narcissist uses to get the victim to try harder to please them. And they do this by introducing a third party into the relationship, either real or perceived. And what this does is it elevates the narcissist position in the relationship. It elevates their status. So a classic example would be, once again, the example that I use in my book, Fake Love, where the narcissist discards their primary source. Let's say it's their wife or their husband. They've discarded their primary source, and of course, they've moved on immediately with the fresh, new, shiny source, the new target. Now, to cement that new target in place, they will be saying something like, oh, I'm so glad I got away from the crazy, jealous ex. They were so horrible to me, and I'm so glad that I found you, and you're wonderful. You're nothing like them. So they have set up in the new target's mind that their ex is crazy, jealous, and possibly still pining for them. So the new target feels amazing. They're having their perceptions distorted. Now, of course, the time is going to come when the love bombing ends with the new target and the devaluing starts. So at that stage, the narcissist might say something like, oh, my ex was such a better cook than you, and I thought they were crazy. No, I should never have left them, and you're actually the crazy one. So they have now got their new target, the new primary source, thinking that they're trying to compete with the old source. The old source has no idea they're being used to make that person jealous. And now that new target is trying harder because they don't want to be like the old source. So the narcissist is, creating this rivalry. They're gaslighting their new target into thinking that they've got this amazing partner who's a wanted commodity that they need to try harder to please, or they just might lose them, and that the problem is with them. They're being gaslighted out of their reality. Now, that would not have started off big like that. As with any victim, it will have started off very, very small, acclimatizing that victim to being confused and not trusting themselves. The gaslighting continues when the narcissist, to continue the devaluation, says something to that new primary source, the old secondary source, something like, oh my goodness, you're so insecure. I told you all about them and you're the one I'm with. You should be grateful I'm with you. And you know what? I left them to be with you. So if you're trying to make me accountable for all these things I haven't done, then the problem's with you because I sacrificed so much to be with you. I left my family. So they're gaslighting the new target into believing that they should be grateful when the reality is they're being abused and they're being set up to resent the ex-partner, to perhaps fight with the ex-partner, all the while elevating the status of the narcissist, who now has in their mind two targets, the old one and the new one, that are trying to please them, and at least the new one trying to outdo the old one so that they remain the number one source. They want to keep the prize, so to speak, because they now believe even more that the narcissist is something special, because this perceived rivalry has been created, and because they believe the narcissist must be something pretty special to have this ex supposedly pining after them and not being able to get over them. The narcissist also uses blatant gaslighting techniques when they sabotage you. For instance, most of you will know or remember that the narcissist continually ruined holidays, special occasions, anything that was supposed to be a memorable time for you. They would sabotage it so that it never ended well. Perhaps you went on a holiday and they created chaos out of nothing. You defend yourself because you can't understand what has happened, and then the narcissist uses your reactions as the reason that the holiday was ruined. Sabotage can also be about ruining memorable times that are sad. Perhaps your mother's funeral, or your loved one, your family member is sick, and they have made out like you are devoting too much time to that person, and that person doesn't deserve your time. And they're telling you that, or implying that there is something wrong with your actions, and that you're also not doing enough for them. They are gaslighting you by having you believe that what you're doing has a selfish agenda. Or perhaps they'll sabotage a night out. You've got a special occasion that you're very excited about, and they feign a cold. They tell you, oh, yeah, I don't feel like going out, and no, you just go. But then if you go to walk out the door, they look at you like you committed some major sin and you're being so selfish because they're so sick. But what your senses are telling you is they've just got a sniffle, and this event is really, really important to you. But you're feeling that if you were to go to that event, that it would be selfish because maybe they are sicker than what you think. So once again, your perceptions are distorted. This type of gaslighting is a great way to make sure that you never look forward to anything, because you either go and you have a horrible night because you know they're going to punish you for having fun or going out when they're sick, or if you don't go and you stay home with them and there seems to be nothing wrong with them, you miss out on that special event. So the victim comes up with all of these survival techniques, these coping mechanisms, to make their disappointment not affect them as much, to not feel that pain as much, by believing what the narcissist is telling them. That takes the edge off the pain, and it enables them to survive the abuse that they can't even define as abuse. Now, if you really want to get a good understanding of what gaslighting is, then I highly recommend that you watch the movie Gaslighting, because that's where the term was coined from. There's actually two movies made back in the 1940s, I think. But The one that I love is the one with Ingrid Bergman. So try and find that one. Now, this is where the term comes from because, and I'll just give you a brief synopsis of the movie. A wife back in those days notices that the gaslights keep dimming each night and she doesn't understand why. So she asks her husband, have you noticed this? And the husband replies, no, I haven't. And then it happens again and again. And every time she says something, the husband says, no, I haven't seen it. Now, eventually, the husband starts to say to his wife, are you feeling okay? Maybe you should sit down. There's nothing wrong with the gaslights. I've checked them. I even stayed up all night watching them myself, and I could not see them dimming. So, maybe you better go to the doctor and see if there's something wrong with you. He gaslights her further by hiding things. And then she finds the very thing she was looking for in a place that she has no memory of putting it. All of this after she has been conditioned to believe there is something wrong with her mentally and she feels like she's going crazy. This happened slowly over time. Now, I don't want to ruin the ending of the movie for you, but it is an excellent movie, even though it's so old. It really depicts what happens to a victim when they are insidiously conditioned to doubt what they're seeing, hearing, and feeling, and they're conditioned to blame themselves. Now, if you have ever felt the need to record your loved one, the person you now believe to be a narcissist, if you ever felt the need to get out your phone and record them so that you can actually play it back later to make sure of what you said or to prove to them what you said or to prove to them that they did what they're denying they did, then you're being gaslighted. Normal, healthy relationships don't have people in them who feel the need to record their partners. The problem is not with you if you feel the need to do that. You don't trust what you're hearing and seeing and feeling because you're not supposed to. So you're recording these events so you can come back to them and make sure that you're not actually crazy like the narcissist is trying to make you believe. Now, as I said earlier, there are just so many ways the narcissist gaslights you by distorting your reality so that you turn to the very person who distorted your reality in the first place for what your reality is. Other things, if you loved me, then you'd let me do what I want. You mustn't love me if you won't let me walk all over you. If they're doing something blatantly abusive, disrespectful, you made me do it. If you hadn't have put on weight or if you had have been showing me some attention lately, I wouldn't have to have cheated. You're being gaslighted if you're being told that the only reason they're telling you what they're telling you, which is hurting you, is because they love you. They're hurting you because they love you. You're being gaslighted. I've listed just a few ways today. There are so many, but I would love to hear how the narcissist gaslighted you. So guys, please leave a review and let me know in the review just how the narcissist in your life gaslighted you and what it was like then And now in that you actually defended yourself, perhaps at the time, because you had been conditioned to do so, and because this person made you trust them and made you not trust yourself. I would love to hear your examples in the reviews, and you can also have a really good discussion around these strategies on the Fake Love and Flying Monkeys discussion group on Facebook, which is private, guys. Love to know your examples and see if they're similar to the ones that I've listed today. Now, I really hope that this episode has enabled you and others who haven't actually been in a relationship with a narcissist to realize just how damaging gaslighting is when the victim is exposed to this over and over and over again. And very confident people over time end up a shell of themselves where they can't make decisions and they don't trust their instincts because of this insidious technique the narcissist uses. I really hope that has kind of taken the buzz out of buzzword when it comes to gaslighting, because there is just so much damage that is done. It's essentially brainwashing so that a victim is not able to see what you or I see, or look at something that's happening in front of their eyes and trust the way they feel about it, that they need to go and check it out with someone else. And when they've been isolated and everything else that's happened to them in this domestic violent relationship, they go to their abuser. So that is my goal in this episode, is to help you realize that the way you feel is very, very normal, in that you are supposed to feel confused. And as I said earlier, a confused mind is a conquered mind. And if you trusted yourself, you might leave, and they want you dependent on them in every way. And that brings us to the end of yet another episode of Fake Love and Flying Monkeys. Thank you so much for listening right through till the end. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a review and share it with people who you think might benefit from it. If there's any way that you would like to help out, that's it, guys. That is the best way that you can help to keep this episode going. Now, let's summarize what we looked at today. We looked at gaslighting. Gaslighting is a technique, damaging technique the narcissist uses to make the victim feel delusional. It distorts their perceptions so they don't trust themselves. And who do they turn to? Their abuser. It makes the victim feel crazy. That's the goal of ongoing gaslighting. We looked at some examples of gaslighting, such as triangulation and sabotage, where the narcissist creates an alternative reality and then has you buying into that reality that they've created. We also had a brief look at the movie Gaslighting, where the term comes from, and I strongly urge you all to watch it. Now, I'm very excited to let you all know that I will be actually dropping another episode tomorrow. Tomorrow's episode is an interview with a victim and survivor, Marie. Marie's story is one that is textbook, and I know that so many of you will relate to. So look out for tomorrow's episode, and don't forget to subscribe so you're first off the mark to be able to download it, and so that you never miss another episode. Don't forget also to follow me on all my other social media platforms, and of course to get your copy of Fake Love and Understanding and Healing from Narcissistic Abuse, my best-selling book in Australia at the moment, which I know will help you in your healing journey to escape the narcissist and to, of course, validate what happened to you. You're not crazy. So you can get my book, Fake Love, at any good bookstore and, of course, online, and it's available worldwide. On that note, it's bye from me for now. Keep an eye out for tomorrow's episode with my interview with Marie, a victim and survivor of narcissistic abuse. And until then, remember, you are worthy of so much love, and you are certainly worthy of a whole lot more than a lifetime of fake love and flying monkeys.